Hi, my name is Madeline, and I'm going to show you how to use Geogabra Classic. The nice thing about this tool is that you can actually get to it without a download. All you have to do is go to geogebra.org/classic, and it'll pop up with this screen. Geogabra has many different functionalities, but it can be used for conics, algebra, and geometry. So it has a little bit different math standards that could be really useful. Um, So it's sort of similar to Desmos. It can be used as an online graphing calculator. It also has a lot of the same functions as Geometry Sketchpad. So I'm going to click on my pointer tool. I can graph a point, and notice how on the left it'll show me what that exact point is. And it'll continue to do that for as many points that I choose to graph. So I'll go back to my pointer tool. From these 2 points, I can actually create a line. So if I click on the points that I created, I can make it to where it goes through both of those points, and it'll give me the equation for that actual line. And notice that we see this equation over here. And then we're going to go ahead and delete that. You can also create a multitude of different kind of lines. So if I want to create a perpendicular line, I can draw a point. I'm going to go to perpendicular line, and I'm going to create, well, actually I'm going to create a line from this. And notice how, again, it's giving me that equation of what the line was that I just created. Now I'm going to go and create a perpendicular line. So I can create that through this point. And it gives me what the equation is of that perpendicular line that I just created. Now I go back to my pointer tool, and I can move it any which direction I want to. And notice how no matter how I change it, it stays perpendicular. Another cool thing about this is that you can actually see mathematically that the lines are perpendicular. So something that we know about perpendicular lines is that it's an opposite reciprocal slope. So we can actually see that within the equation. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Just like you would Geometry Sketchpad and anything else, I can create a polygon. And this is our freestyle tool, so I'm not really drawing anything, but if I wanted to draw something, I would be able to draw it there. So I'm going to go back to my pointer tool. Also, I can go over here and change the settings in the view. Let's say I didn't want a graph, or I didn't want the axes, I can take that off. Or I can create a blank screen too if I didn't want the graph at all. So I can go ahead and create a regular polygon. And notice how I can just input how many vertices I want, and it'll construct it for me. That's the nice thing about this tool, is that when you click that you would like to construct a polygon, it actually makes it accurate to where you don't have to manipulate it to where it fits every single property of what the definition of a polygon would be. And then it tells you the different properties over here. And again, I can manipulate this any which way I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I can also create a circle. Notice how it gives me a bunch of different ways I can do that. So let's say I want to create a circle with center through point. And it's going to give me that equation for a circle again, which is really neat because if I go back to my pointer, as I change the circle, you notice that the equation also changes. So that's something that can be useful in student engagement and letting them explore maybe different properties of a circle, and maybe having them explore, why is the circle getting bigger and what aspect of the equation is making the circle get bigger. So that's one use of this application in the classroom. We can also create an angle. So we can create an angle just freely, or we can create an angle with a given size. So I create 2 points, and then it's going to ask me what I want my angle to be. So let's say I want a 90-degree angle. And notice how I've just created that. So it's now showing me that the angle that I created is 90 degrees. And then I can actually connect them. So I'm going to connect. And my angle is still going to stay 90 degrees. And notice that every time I create something, it labels it for me. I can actually go over here and name different things. So let's say I wanted to change this to angle BC B prime. I can go ahead and name it that. I can attach a value to it. I can hide it, so I can change the color. So there's a lot of different things that I can do. I can even lock it. So let's say I don't want it to be able to move or be able to change. I can go ahead and lock it to make sure that you won't be able to change that. And I can change the label with the point. So let's say instead of naming this B prime, I actually want to name this A. I can go ahead and switch that. And so notice how it's changed to be A. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of these. I can also create sliders. So one of the neat things that I might be able to use this for is in conic sections. So manipulating the R value of the circle equation and seeing how that changes the circle. So I can go ahead and put the equation of a circle. And then I can create a slider. And notice how I'm going to go ahead and name this circle A. And I'm going to change the max from 0 to 6. Actually, I did not want to do that. Delete. Okay, but notice how with this circle, so I can change it from, I can change the radius value. We know obviously in a circle you can't have a negative radius, but the square will actually change it to positive. So I can have students manipulate this to see, what values of R make the circle bigger, what make it smaller, and it really just changes as an exploration tool to help students form a deeper understanding of the concept. And also, if I wanted to just make them make their own conjecture, I can go ahead and play it so it changes automatically. So notice how it's shifting on its own, and you can see it being manipulated in the equation. And so I can go ahead and pause that. So that's something that would be useful as a student exploration thing. We can also do different conic functions. So if I want to do an ellipse, notice how it tells me the different, it also tells me the equation, but it tells me the different points of that ellipse. And we can go ahead and delete this. And something else that this tool is useful for, so I'm going to go ahead and put back that I want a graph and I want the axes showing. I can insert any function. So notice how as soon as I plug something in, it goes ahead and graphs it for me. So let's say I want x squared, and we can zoom in and zoom out. And we can see what that looked like. So this is a really great tool for a graphing calculator. Maybe if you don't have a class set and this is easily accessible to students so that if they need to graph something, they would be able to see it. So we can see that. And just notice how we can change the color, we can change the min and the max, the different axis. So there's a lot of different things that we can use to manipulate what we want our students to see. You can also create a slider with this. So let's say that I want students to be able to see the different things that A, B, and C do. So we know that ax squared plus bx plus c is the general form of a parabola. So if I wanted them to see what or how the different coefficients change the parabola, I could create a slider for A and B and C and have them manipulate it to see how that affects the function. So it's a really great tool for really any standard of math. I would say it's more useful for algebra and geometry, but you can even use it for trigonometry. You can use it for conic sections. So really there's a lot that you are able to do on here. And another thing that's really neat about this is you can download the files that you create. So let's say I create a slider worksheet on here. I can download it and then be able to share it and have it on my desktop for future use. So that's my video, but like I said, GeoGabra is really useful for a lot of different things. But yeah.